united to kill the brutals who multiply and our legion. Go forth and kill.
Push it to the limit. This is Fluxtaposed episode 254, recorded on March 19th, 2019. On the docket today, Whatchuplayin, featuring The Division 2 and Breath of the Wild, because that's all I played. Finally, I'm going to close out the show with that awkward finish in that, well, probably around the web too. Maybe? Yeah, I think so. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the show. Please. I wasn't sure how long I was supposed to give it there at the beginning. I'm like, am I supposed to come in now? Am I not supposed to come in? I don't know.
No one
knows. We don't know. And if we don't know, nobody knows. Welcome to Fluxtaposed. I am Jason. I'm joined by Lucas.
Hello.
We're happy to have you here with us. It's a fun time. Podcast. It's your hangout. It's the #1 hangout podcast published on Fluxtaposed.com. I can safely say that, and I guarantee that is factual.
I guarantee.
In all manners of the way. Welcome to the show. I'm happy to have you listening. I'm happy to have you watching. All the ways you may enjoy this content. Thank you. Thank you. We're very appreciative of you taking your time to join us on this podcast journey through life that we share with you against your will. Yeah?
Oh,
Sometimes.
whoa. I don't know about against my will and such and what has yous. Come on.
Well, come on now. Well, welcome to the show either way. If you can't get enough of us in podcast format, which join us on Discord, fluxtaposed.com/Discord. Gets the automatic invite. And we have a giveaway going on, guys and girls, to the end of March. To the end of March, not Munch, to the end of March. Why is things getting louder? It's so much louder. Oh, mine ears. To the end of March, we have a giveaway. You have the total, almost the end of March, the 26th, the last episode of the month for us, which will be next week, Tuesday. We are doing a giveaway, $20 digital game currency through gleam.io. So please check the show notes of each episode That'll have the link to get you entered in the giveaway. I believe there's 44 entries. Well, I should say 44 different people have entered right now. And then for exclusive for our patrons, we're doing a separate $10 giveaway because I felt bad because you weren't getting your extra patron-powered entries. So that's a little something extra for you guys. And then next month, we'll do back our standard giveaways that make more sense and are easier, accessible to everyone. Ribo's here. Deuterino's here. Hello, friends. How are you? We are still humble partners. There's a good strategy gaming bundle out there right now for you to check out. You hit up our Discord. There's some little affiliate links that's just a nice little way to say thank you to Fluxtaposed and make Lucas make pretty faces like that.
Pretty. You like that one?
That was your I hate producing a podcast live face, I think.
Yeah, I was fixing something. The aspect ratio on my camera was all weird, and it was making my face look even fatter. And not PHAT fat.
Not possible, I don't think, Tubby.
Whoa. Chubby.
And we recently did a poll on Fluxtaposed's Patreon to decide the next Fluxtaposed radio theme for March. And our winner is going to be Imperial March. You see what we did there?
Oh, I get
it. No, it's not Star Wars mixes. So don't you actually me. It is going to be bad guy theme. So all the evil bad dudes throughout gaming worlds will have their
Rude
music
dudes.
played. Yeah, rude dude, bad dudes. So
Yeah.
look forward to that. That'll drop at the end of the month for patrons exclusively, and then we'll release publicly a week after that. And then usually whenever I feel like it, it'll make its way onto the normal podcast feed for everyone to enjoy. And we're on Spotify.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
We still like to announce that. We're on Spotify if you like to listen to podcasts there. You can get Flexible on Spotify. There you go.
Cool.
Housekeeping's done. Ugh.
Cool.
Blah. Okay, you guys can stop listening now. Sorry. See
That's
ya.
all. It's just a bunch of announcements.
Oh, man. You need to, get rid of half of those or, somehow dither that down. I don't know.
If we would stop forgetting to do half of the stuff, we wouldn't have to announce it all at once.
Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe and give us a review on iTunes and Patreon and da-da-da-da-da.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
That's how you do it.
Ask AMA is going on still, and yeah,
There's a good hope we actually shoot that next week.
possibly,
Next week, hopefully.
potentially.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. .gif.
Mike has
shall we
another
do-
cat, so there's a chance we won't. Sorry,
and,
Mike.
And his wife might just decide to hate us again. So it could happen too.
Decide again.
Ooh.
Still.
Okay, still. Well, let's roll right into some IRL. We like to get you guys caught up on the world of Lucas and myself. I've talked enough. Lucas, please
Okay.
break up the show with another voice, some better something.
Another voice. Just do something that you kind of wow. I bought a keyboard. Not this kind of keyboard,
Ooh.
but a keyboard that a cat would
Wait,
use.
can I just randomly insert what you talked about on Discord and say, what do we about that? Met the Bruce.
Yes, you can. You can.
Okay.
But we will give
Yeah,
no
you bought
reason.
you bought a keyboard, eh?
I did. It's back there. It's back there. It looks pretty. It's not a keyboard in the traditional sense of the word, as in it doesn't make any sound if I were just to play it. I have to hook it into a computer, and it'll produce the bleeps and blops for you. And mostly I just did this because I've always been interested in making music, and I tried the guitar. You can. It's over there. I don't know why. I saw your.
I have one. I have two that just hang out back here.
I was gonna say I saw your bass guitar, and for some reason I thought it was my camera because my guitar is black and white, and so I was like, "It's right there."
Well,
it's not
it's
right there.
actually candy apple red and white. Okay.
Well, then you better put a light on it so I can
my
see.
color correction is not very good on this webcam.
Clearly. But anyways, so I tried my hand at guitar and just not good. Not really. Physically not really not gonna get much better. So my hands don't really work that way, unfortunately. So instead, I used to play piano when I was a kid, around 12 years of age.
You don't know what to do with your hands?
I don't. I'm like a BioWare cutscene.
Bad.
I don't
Really?
know. Hey-oh. But here's the thing. I don't necessarily want to learn how to play piano. I don't have enough time. Those days are kind of over. Maybe when I get more time, I will. But with this, it's kind of the best of both worlds. So
you got
I have
2 kids now.
Yeah,
You're never gonna have more time.
I'll be 60 by the time, and then I'll be dead from heart failure. Sorry, I mean, I'll be dead. Because I'm wanted in over 12 star systems, is it? So I have about half a keyboard. Because originally I was going to get a mini one that just featured, I think it's like 12 keys or something like that. But instead I got a slightly bigger one so that I had a little more room to maneuver tickle the ivory, as it were. And yeah, hopefully I can just basically make some music without having to draw all of the notes with my mouse. You see,
nobody wants some Mario Paint music.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it still will be, but I won't have to draw it line by line with my mouse. I can just play it live and dink around.
Yeah.
Also, it has a drum pad on it as well, so I will be able to tap out some sick beats. I could do that now. Can you imagine drawing that out on the mouse is just awful, especially trying to figure out the timing when you're able to just use feel to time it instead of trying to figure it out on a measure a measure, then it's a lot more simple. And then also trying to hunt for notes, like looking for the right notes or the notes that you think are the ones that you need or whatever, is a lot more simple when you have a keyboard and you can physically see the representation of the notes laid out, as opposed to playing it on your typing keyboard, which doesn't really mean anything when you look at it. Just you could if you wanted to.
So I have one question.
What?
When do we go to space camp?
Right now. I have it hooked up. Let's go. No, that'll probably never happen because that person is playing live and is good. I mean, maybe
has two
one
keyboards.
day. It's actually if you listen to it, it doesn't sound that complicated. It's just over and over. But the hand motions and everything would probably be the hardest.
At space camp, excitement did abound.
I did listen to the meat, the remix one
without leaving the ground.
So I did learn how to play the bass part of our theme song because I made that theme song, but I forgot. I don't have the. Yeah, exactly. I don't have the file project anymore, so I'd have to remake it all from scratch.
Good thing it's on the internet, or it could be lost forever.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's kind of my big update. So hopefully, I've been just kind of dinking around with it, trying to find new instruments, new sounds and stuff, and then hopefully I can get back into the swing of things. I kind of made a couple of stupid things. For instance, I didn't know how to do this until I messed around with it for about an hour. I didn't know how to make my beats right on the beat. So they're really like off key or off beat. And so
off tempo.
Yeah, off tempo. Because you can play it with a metronome, but it's really hard when you're tapping it out. It's hard to hear the metronome and everything. So it still goes off key or off beat. Sorry. And but I knew there was a way where you could highlight everything and just have it kind of snap to the closest beat so that it sort of knows what you meant. And you can also have it do that while you play. So figuring out a new program as well is kind of a pain.
I would say that was my next question. What software you are using to create in?
It's called Bitwig. I'd never heard of it, but I had kind of not a demo, but a limited license for the program. And what that means is I can only have 8 tracks. So 8 instruments or 8 whatever.
Enough to get a decent sample
feel for it. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what I'm messing around in right now. I don't know if that'll stick or if I'll end up buying a license. I don't even know how much they are.
So eventually we're going to get to live requests on the show, right? We're just going to be like, let's go.
Yeah, and then play Bloody Tears from Castlevania.
Dancing and playing music, and it's going to be awesome.
Yes. No, I'm just going to press a button and then just do this a lot.
I'll hook up the bass,
Yep.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. I don't know how that song goes.
I wish that's so Jam and Earl. I got it. I feel you.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
Speaking of close enough, that's my IRL. Just end it there.
We had my son's birthday is coming up. It's actually Sunday, but we had an early birthday gathering with my side of the family. My dad came over on Saturday, and my mom was on Sunday, and it's just it's crazy to see how different things are, and how more aware and how much more he can enjoy things because now he can open stuff himself and do things. And it's not like you like open it up and show.
Yes.
Here, look at what you got.
And they're like off looking at
he
something
doesn't
completely
care,
different.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a fun time. And then this coming weekend we got a couple things because his grandmother. Jessica's mom's birthday is on Saturday, so we're doing a bunch of stuff for that. And then on Sunday, I think we're going to take him to you will know, I'm sure you have heard of it, people outside the area, the Gilmore Car Museum. We're going to take him.
Oh, I don't.
Take him to that because he loves cars. So it's down by Kalamazoo. I hear it's actually pretty awesome.
Oh, I should look that up because I like
We'll try that. We'll try to not get murdered in Kalamazoo along the way.
Good luck. Excuse me.
And I haven't opened it yet, Lucas, but I got this. This came in last week.
Whoa! He's holding up Starlink Battle for Atlas.
I have Starlink, the starter pack with the R-Wing, and I paid a whopping $15 for it.
Wow.
That's insane to me. Like,
I was thinking about the reason. I wonder if it's because the toys to game genre kind of got played out, and so a lot of people saw that and they were like, ugh, not another Skylanders or Lego Dimensions or whatever. Not knowing that you don't really need...
Right. I mean, I'll be honest. I would have paid $15 just for the R-Wing.
Yeah.
Or I was always checking eBay just to buy that by itself, but there was never any sales for it. So because there's now there are because there's no Star Fox merch really. I mean, unless you can get those. They have those the World of Nintendo figures, but those aren't manufactured anymore, so they're ridiculously priced on eBay, and you can get with weird random plushies, which I don't want that. So I just wanted something Star Fox. So. I'm sure that's the only way I'll play that game besides the whole Star Fox thing. Plus, we got that DLC coming. That looks really cool that they showed at the last Nintendo Direct. So,
yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that because I was like, well, I don't have that game, so why do I care?
Yeah. So looking forward to playing that at some point, but I'm not playing other things. And I had some other stuff here, but I just want to cut it. And now I'm probably going to take things a little more somber and a more serious note. And I don't think Lucas. I don't know if you're familiar with this person. A while back when I was podcasting, but I got mixed up. Interacted with a group that used to run a website called Whatchuplayin, and they had a podcast, and it was a group of people mostly MMO players that have played numerous games through numerous communities together. But the core group is always, migrated from game to game together. And a few people from that they did this podcast called Whatchuplayin, and they moved that to Go Kart Brothers, and they've done other projects along the way. And the two of the husband and wife actually lived here in my state, and I met them a couple summers ago. But they had a third member of their podcast. His username was Slurms. Really funny guy, had a really interesting, unique sense of humor. And about 2 years ago, he was diagnosed with, I believe it was a form. I'm gonna hate to remember incorrectly, but I believe it's some form of intestinal cancer.
Oof.
I believe. And I wasn't really close with Steve, but he had a lot of, I followed his updates, and I'd pop in and out of their Discord every once in a while, and we'd have a couple of exchanges on Twitter. He's mostly known for Guild Wars 2. He had a fan. Essentially, he wrote it like a newspaper from inside the game. It's called The Orator. And it's really his writing style was really entertaining, really funny, really quality stuff, and he did that for a long time. But unfortunately, I learned. I want to say it was over the weekend. I think it was on Saturday that he did pass away after a 2-year battle with cancer. And it's just cancer sucks, but for someone that I didn't know so well, I kept my thoughts kept returning to him. He had two. He was married. He was 39, I think. So not much older than myself. Had 2 young kids, and first of all, your heart goes out to his wife and his family. But then it's just to lose somebody, and then this is the thing. The day and age we're at is you go on there and you see his Twitter feed, and you literally see tweets from a week ago, and now you know that this person's gone. Yeah, and you're never gonna see anything ever again. And it's it's really cryptic and horrible. And I guess it affected me a lot more than I thought it would. So today would have actually been his birthday. So people from that group they're playing Guild Wars 2 tonight as a way to kind of honor him and enjoy something that he loves so much. So it's a terrible thing. I thought, it sucks because it literally looked like he was giving giving cancer a shit kicking, and was doing all he could. And unfortunately, things went a different way. So there's a go. I probably will put it in the show notes. There's a GoFundMe that they have. Everything's going directly into his wife's bank account. Everything proceeds go directly to his family. It was originally set up to help pay for his medical costs, and now the family is going to be losing the insurance because I learned it was really awesome of his employer, which is amazing here in America. He had started there, and shortly after he started, he got his diagnosis, and they let him take as much time off as they needed, miss all this work, cover most of his medical costs were covered. And then his family, I think, but at the end of this month, his family, they're going to lose the insurance. So anything will help. So I will share that. So, I think it's unfortunate that he's passed, but, he's in a better place now. So, because unfortunately, especially at the end, I saw that it had spread into different parts of his skin and tissues, and he had described it as basically what it feels like when you have ingrown hairs, that itching feeling, but it was everywhere, and except if you scratch it, it hurts. So you're just festering like that. Cancer sucks. I wish that
yes, it does.
I wish we had more answers for why that. What causes it, how to prevent it, how to fight it. It's just it's a terrible thing, and it only seems to get progressively worse as time passes on,
Mm-hmm.
So Steve, I hope you're doing better. I don't know how to move from that. I don't know how to
As I say, you weren't joking about bringing it down. Ugh.
I know. I mean, so it's really cool. I know Shannon and Jason are really close to them, and so it's really cool to see the Discord had really was inactive for a long time, and it's cool to see people sharing memories, and it's sparked a lot of community there again. So it's cool to see that, even though it was a tragic event that brought people back together, but it's a way it's good to see that happen at the same time, because it's what he would have wanted. So it's cool to see. There's no good way to move from that, so we're just gonna move along. Netflixation.
Yeah.
Netflixation is coming up end of this month. The next episode as well. We'll do Netflixation. We've done a terrible procrastinated as usual, picking, selecting. So Lucas had his selection ready last week. I did not. His again was The Last Laugh, Netflix original comedy starring Chevy Chase and Richard Dreyfuss. And I have decided to go with, because I've wanted to watch it ever since it was announced, and I was I couldn't think of what to pick. I was I'll just pick something for my queue, and that is going to be Polar, which I will describe as fake Solid Snake shoots stuff. That's my description.
It's a pretty good. That's a pretty apt description, I think.
So those are our two selections for the next Netflixation. I say we're going to throw a poll up tomorrow, and it's going to get decided, and then we're just going to broadcast what we're watching, and then we do it.
Okay.
So have to do that for the next week show, and there you have it. Huh. Man, Lucas, there was Google dropped some news today.
I was wondering if you were going to ask me about this.
I figure we can talk about this a little bit.
Sure.
What the heck is it even called again? I don't remember.
Stadia.
I was going to say Stavia, but that's that sugar.
Stadia,
thing,
Arcadia.
Right? Stadia. It's the Google's long, poorly hidden, long-awaited announced streaming service. We don't. I was really hoping to give us a price today. I was hoping they'd have that in the keynote.
Yeah,
but, I mean, I guess keep that a little closer to their chest until they're ready to
get the hype machine going, and then get people used to the idea. Yeah, and then get them thinking how much they're willing to pay. Then they'll focus test and then figure out how much can we charge for this.
You're too long didn't read. This is Google's their game streaming service, which will play on pretty much anything on a Chromecast device, a laptop, a desktop, anything that can run the Chrome browser, a mobile phone, a tablet. They're all compatible. You can bring your own controller. You can use their proprietary controller. What was it they touted? From clicking the play button to inside the game in 6 seconds. There's no loading screens. A lot of cool game sharing functions, including like sharing like essentially a save state, or a save file version of your game that you can send to a friend and they can jump in and try to, do something better than you just did. A lot of cool things here. Of course, Assassin's Creed Odyssey was the game that they used in their essential like open beta test for everyone. They've announced that 60 frames per second, 1080p up to 1080p all the way up to 4K will be possible. Surround sound, all of that. And then this is going to be scalable up to 8K when the technology is there. They didn't give us specs on really what would be required from a internet infrastructure or a speed bandwidth capability, what you're going to need to experience that. They didn't like explicitly say, but they did make it sound like for the best results, you'd want to have the Chromecast Ultra.
Yeah,
I believe like their premier Chromecast dongle will get you. And I was assuming I would think you probably could get just as good results on a PC. You would think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So we don't know what games are compatible yet. We don't know the pricing model. We just know it seems to be like the technology seems really impressive. When you go through buzzwords in the presentation, you're like, wow, how are they doing all this magic? And it's just like,
right.
And then the thing is, it's like, what I don't get is like how, if you're let's say, because Ubisoft was there, their founder, I can't even remember his name. He's there during that presentation. They obviously had Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Id was there. And we've got, the next Doom game is going to be on there. We've got these publishers that have these big AAA games, but they're bringing it to this streaming service. And I think you kind of have this dialogue and same questions that were going on when Game Pass was first announced. And how does this pricing model work? Because if I'm putting for instance, we had a lot of conversation in the PSVG Discord about this. As soon as Doom Eternal was announced, Donnie's like, well, there goes a pre-order I don't need for Xbox anymore. Because he's all about that Google life. So, if the pricing makes sense, he's going to be all about this. You're bringing your games to this platform, but then you're cannibalizing sales, I feel like, from another platform. So I don't know how that pricing model is going to work because I don't see people. I don't know how much people would pay for this. I mean, let's talk about what would you feel comfortable paying for a service like this?
I guessed it was going to be.
What would you expect to pay?
I expected $19.99, but somebody did give an interesting thought and said maybe they'll roll it into YouTube Red and have it be an add-on subscription fee.
Well, how much is YouTube Red?
I think it's $9.99.
Okay. And does that with YouTube Red, do you get the YouTube music? Does that come with that too, or is that
it's all it's all the same. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So I just feel like that's just. I mean, Game Pass is $10. So I mean, I personally I felt it would be like in that 20 to 30 ballpark because I just don't see it from a big publisher standpoint like that. How you can split the sub costs and get that revenue from there. And then I don't see how much because you're losing like on a $60 per game. I don't know. There's so much I just don't understand because I feel like by bringing this to that platform, you're missing out. But I feel like there's going to be people that your diehard Xbox users, your diehard PlayStation users are still gonna, they're going to be where they're going to be. But I feel like for someone like you or I feel like this makes almost more so me because I don't have my computer's at the edge of its lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how do I keep playing? I can't afford to buy all the consoles. I can't afford to keep a bleeding fast top of the line rig. I can't afford that to upgrade. But now this is a possibility. I can theoretically play new releases forever. I mean, essentially, and I feel like this technology is only going to improve, and I feel like we're only going to see the big players in the gaming industry eventually start utilizing this. Like if the Switch was able to use this technology more, we've already seen that happen with them with Resident Evil. I can't remember what other game was streaming, but again, at the same time, what's the requirements? And I feel like even though this is rolling out first in North America, in terms of broadband, we have some of the worst broadband penetration, at least on a national scale. You know, there's so many areas that's not like my brother can't get the highest speed internet connection he can get is 10 meg. Is it? Yeah, 10 megabit a second.
Good lord.
Where he's at.
Gross.
That's the only option. He can't get cable internet. He can't get anything else. So I don't know how it all works, but I mean, we've seen this before. OnLive tried this. We've got PlayStation Now. That's a thing still. But I mean, other services have tried. Was it? I had a subscription to it. It was PC only, and it wasn't game streaming. I think they had some streaming options, but then you could download and play the games immediately. What the heck was it called? It's what I first played the new Sam & Max games on because they were exclusive to it when it first came out. But I can't remember what it was. It was like a subscription-based gaming platform, and I can't remember what it was. But it was a little bit ahead of its time. But I don't know. I guess Google has the manpower here. Apparently, they've been working on this tech for years. So I think, but before just the game playing aspect, in terms as a game development platform, is where it seems to have the most, options and bells and whistles for people.
Right. I think the reason why Google's stepping up to do it is because they have the infrastructure, obviously, to do it. Whereas I tried PlayStation Now or whatever, and it worked okay, but there was some obvious faults in the streaming. And the big thing here, and I don't think you mentioned this, is that it's not just 1080p streaming. It's 4K, surround sound, HDR, which makes sense because that's no different than what Netflix is really doing. The only other thing that's coming along with it is input. So,
and I think what they're doing is different than what we've seen before, is now your controller is syncing through Wi-Fi directly to the data center that's streaming your game instead of connecting to a device that then is
going through the internet. And then,
I like what they mentioned, like how their servers work too. Because right now, you have your console, which is then connected to an ISP, which is then connected to the game servers, which is then all this data. You've got all these different connection points where you have response times and lag, which can create a less than stellar online experience. But here, your game and the data center and the matchmaking is all housed on the same unit per se. So you should have a much more unified experience.
That's good to know because that's the biggest hurdle, right? Is making sure that, because if you're bringing any and all games, including multiplayer, that's a tough sell for, you're streaming your game, but you're also playing it through the internet, basically.
Right. I mean, everything looks good in a stage demo, for the most part, except Wii Music.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the iPhone. The initial iPhone presentation that looked awesome, but as we know from behind the scenes and from years and years later, they barely had that thing working, and they didn't even know if it was gonna. They didn't even know it was gonna keep running the whole time. They thought it was a good chance that it was gonna crash any moment. So you can very much stage a stage presentation. So until we actually get this in on-screen demo, not on-screen, but we actually get in the hands of the press and in the hands of users, then we can see that what we're promised is actually delivered upon. Because we've heard this before. Obviously, the technology and the internet and everything else has rapidly improved since then. So I think it was only a matter of point to get to this. But I mean, PlayStation is doing something like this. Xbox is now. Microsoft is experimenting more with streaming. So we're all getting there. But this is a fully fledged option to combat the other big three players in the market.
Yeah. I have some worries about this, though, honestly, because one of my first worries, I guess, is so you decide that let's say I decide to do this service and I'm not going to buy a console for the next generation or this generation. That means I'm basically paying whatever the price is for the rest of my gaming career. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to own any of these games.
Right, that's the thing. I mean,
So those are two big things, paying.
Yeah, you're right
for the rest of my life, basically, and not owning anything.
Yeah.
If I ever decide to stop.
And then what happens if if you cancel your sub or your sub lapses? how long are your game saves or anything else? How long are those stored before they're purged?
Well, one would hope
know?
it would be based on your Gmail and all that other stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but you don't know.
Yeah, I guess my concern is if this is successful, what ramifications does it have for the industry as we currently know it?
I'm glad you said that, because my other thought was, look at all these games that came out for free. Well, what does that do? I'm less worried about games that come out for $60 and more worried about games that come out for free, because now if they release on this platform instead of any other platform at all, are they free now? Not really. Imagine if Apex Legends was exclusive to this Google Stadia. It's not really free anymore. So it kind of blurs the lines.
Are you going to see more incentives for in-game purchases? And
yeah,
because now we're already seeing that a season pass type, a season modes with packs and passes. That's the route we're going to see with all freemium games now. Anything, especially not just limited to battle royale, but there's other games that do that too. But now that's kind of the norm that we see, and people are already being expecting that. I mean, right now, you've got, look at Fortnite. Your largest consumers of Fortnite are probably in the 10 to 18 demographic. Those younger kids love that game. And I've already heard another podcast and stuff. It's like, Dad, can we get I want the battle pass, and or can I get the battle pass for my birthday? And so they're already indoctrinated into this episodic purchase model.
It's true.
I don't know. I mean, the industry has to change. The industry has to adapt, and it needs something like that to shake it up and drive innovation and motivation, all of these things of that nature. But I am concerned with what it'll do.
Yep, me too.
I think we're already in this slowly in this shift away from physical media into digital media, and we still, especially I think we see this more in the PC space, but we had this whole concern with DRM and do you actually own games and what happens, and Nintendo's done a terrible job with digital purchases. Like, how many times have you bought the same virtual console games, and what is things tied to your account, or are they not? So we're already going through this big transformation. Now we've got this service that's going to have, here's all these games. Now here's the next question: will games always be available at release? Are you going to be able to play Doom Eternal on this at the same time as it releases physically? It seems like it, because they wouldn't be pushing it so much. But are there going to be stagger releases? Are you going to pay more for early access to a game? Are
there going to be tiers? Because I think it's EA has tiers. Like, you have your basic subscription model, and then you have your ultimate subscription model or whatever. You're right, and it seems simple at first glance, this whole thing where you just are watching a YouTube video. Well, another two things. One, imagine how much targeted marketing is going to happen now, because you look up a trailer for Resident Evil 8 or whatever it is, and now suddenly Google's like, hey, you can play this right now. Did you know you can play this right now? And you just want to watch the cinematic trailer or whatever for this game, and you're getting all these things that say, hey, you can play this right now. You go to check your email, and there's a little thing at the bottom that says, this is the new games that are coming on this, and I just worry how widespread that's going to be. But also, the more it seems simple on the outside, but the more links in the chain that you put into gaming, the more things can go wrong. Yeah. And I know people are thinking, I can pick up my phone and just start playing immediately. But like you said, this is best case scenario on the stage. And it may work like that most days, but then maybe there's a heavy traffic day and suddenly you can't stream at 4K 60 frames per second. Maybe it's only 1080p, and then you're just like, well, that's not what I was promised. Mm-hmm. Or, the internet goes down, or your TV explodes, or whatever. The great thing about the Switch is that if the power goes out, you can just pick it up off the dock and start playing it, and then hopefully the power will be back,
I got 3 hours.
Exactly. But that's not the case with this. So obviously I don't think everyone should probably still have a backup. I think something like a Switch will still do well, but consoles, It's hard to
And
say.
let's talk about data caps.
Yeah.
In certain metro areas, broadband internet has data caps. I mean, our ISP here in Michigan, Comcast, it tells us your data usage. We have unlimited, but it tells you each month how much you've used.
No, I don't think you technically have unlimited because it's high. I'm gonna see if I can look it up because they don't really tell you that there's a cap on it, but there is. It's like 50 terabytes or something ridiculous like that. But because I noticed that before on the screen that it was tracking it, and I was like, what does that have to do with anything?
What's this gonna require? What are you gonna use? And people were, their price is driven by their data, their amount of data. Is this even going to be possible for them? And then you got to look at the whole net neutrality thing. How much are ISPs, are they going to charge extra to push this kind of traffic? I mean, there's a lot of these questions that come up.
So I have 1 terabyte basically, and I have 410 gigabytes remaining for the rest of March.
So you've used roughly 600.
Yeah, and I have 2 courtesy months to exceed that.
I don't use a lot of. I haven't even exceeded like 350 right now. I just don't use a lot of data. I guess.
And my last December was 690 gigabytes. January was the highest at 878. So I don't think I've ever actually gone. Let me look.
I guess you're a pretty good example though. You guys, like, what, 100% of your screen content is streaming, right?
Yeah.
So we stream a lot too, but we have cable as the backbone. So.
Plus, now I'm streaming 4K video sometimes on Netflix and stuff, so that's much larger.
Right.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is a bigger. I'm not trying to.
So, I mean, that gives you an idea. So, I wouldn't expect this to be in terms of data use. I mean, how much more of a pipe are you going to be pulling to stream a 4K game as opposed to like a 4K video?
Right. I mean, are you watching or gaming for more than 2 or 3 hours? Because if you watch a movie or two, it's about the same.
I don't know. There's a lot of questions. I think it's a really exciting technology. It should be interesting to see how it evolves. We know it's coming this year. We don't know when. The controller is interesting. It kind of looks like a hybrid of a PlayStation and Nintendo Pro controller.
I can't believe anyone thought that was going to be the actual controller. The weird.
It even was. I was even like showed that was fake. I saw numerous tweets that was fake, and so many people were like, "This looks stupid." But then I saw numerous posts too. They're like, "This is totally fake, you guys. Why is everyone making a big deal about that?"
I mean, it looked like an early render to me. They were like, "Yeah, let's make a controller and let's make it like, slightly different looking."
Remember when the Switch controller was that oval thing with the yeah? I mean, come on.
Multiple drinking times.
Multiple drinking. So I just, I'm no expert. I'm not by the technology or anything about it. But so long story short, I think it's going to be interesting. It should be interesting to see how it develops, and I think it's only going to bring more options for gamers, which is I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
So,
but it seems really good, but also, let's keep everything in perspective here. And be a little bit more realistic about this.
Unfortunately, some people in Germany might have thought the Nazi Party sounded good too at one point. So
wow.
I mean,
right over there,
you can be sold
on anything.
So it'll be interesting to see how it progresses, how it develops once we get a price, and then how it actually performs. So. I believe Senator Palpatine said, "We will watch your career with great interest." I believe.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did say that.
That's my thoughts on Stadia Arcadia.
How did they not call it Stadia Arcadia?
Stadium Arcadium.
Yeah. Well, hey-o. Listen what I say-o. No.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Shall we play Overclock Remix? You want to do that?
Overclock Remix now. You know what? What even is Overclocked Remix?
Well,
anyway?
Lucas, I'm fancy you mentioned that. Overclocked Remix is a lovely website dedicated to the appreciation and promotion of video game music as an art form. It is free. It's completely free. You can download and listen to as many of the mixes you want. Now they do have some albums that you can purchase, or
I see an album.
But it's a complete fan arrangement community. We just had a new Chrono Cross album, which is I don't know
there's
what
a
the name
Monkey
is,
Island on here,
but it's a great community of enthusiasts and actual remixers, and I've been involved. Well, I can't say I've been involved. I've been listening to it for a long time, and it's great stuff. They have a Patreon. You can support them there if you want.
Should I spin this wheel?
Yeah, and we like to randomly pick a song from their new list every week.
We're going up. Oh, it's gonna be Chrono Trigger.
That's okay.
It's fine. We've never featured it before.
No, we've never featured it, so why not?
It's number 2.
Very good. Our remix tonight, as Lucas
name.
mentioned, comes from Chrono Cross, the spiritual successor, somewhat loosely related game in the Chrono Trigger series. It's called A Timely Victory. It's by Lemonetric. I don't know why is that so hard for me to say? Lemonetric. It arranges.
I read it with my eyes fine, but trying to say it with your tongue.
It arranges the music of one song, Victory, A Gift of Spring. It's again from Chrono Cross, 1999 on the PlayStation by Square. Music by Yasunori Mitsuda. Let's get some details here. Good news, it's clocking in at 2 minutes, 42 seconds, which is that Fluxtaposed sweet spot. It's EDM, it's pop, energetic, happy, chiptune, electronic synth, baby.
That's our second love.
Give it to me. And the album is Chronopolis, music inspired by Chrono Cross. That is the album. It's available now. You can check it out, download it all for free. They have a lot of great albums. I do recommend you check them out.
I don't think I've ever checked out an album in my life.
I usually, even if I don't really like the game, I usually just download them all and add them to my Google Music.
So you can just throw it on and then.
Yeah, but most of the time, I'll be honest. Like most of the time, like I'll listen to podcasts. For whatever reason now, I must have a lot of the shows I'm sub to are on hiatus or on break because I've only had like 3 episodes drop this week. And one of them I was on, so I didn't have to listen to that. So I've been listening to a lot of the music this week, and for whatever reason, like my Spotify Discover Weekly takes like 10 days before they update it instead of like every week.
It's not weekly.
No, it's not weekly anymore. So I did start listening to that, but otherwise, like I'll just stream Overclock Remix from Rainwave, which is a cool site because it's kind of fun because you can vote, you can like make your own submission. And you can vote on the upcoming list. It's kind of fun to experience that with other people. So that's how I usually find a lot of mixes that I like to play on the show is because I just listen to it on there. But enough about me. How about we play this remix?
Okay.
Take a little break, and we'll come back with so much more of the podcast. How about that, guys? Sounds good, huh? So, again, this is A Timely Victory. It's from Chrono Cross, and you can find this remix and many more at ocremix.org. Well, that was delightfully cheery, wasn't it?
Made me happy. Kind of reminded me of Kirby a little bit.
I didn't know that was in Chrono Cross, because that clearly is the victory music from Chrono Trigger, but they must be they carried that over into Chrono Cross. But I guess it only makes sense because like Final Fantasy had, the Final Fantasy victory theme was
pretty similar
in many versions of the game. Yeah, slightly changed, but largely the same theme. Well, there you go. How about that? That was fun. It's a good time.
Oh, it's a good time for all.
Good. Shall we do a little what you playing? Yeah.
That's the sound of my Google Assistant going crazy right now. That was weird.
Can I share a fun interaction I had with?
Oh my God! Stop. There.
Can I talk now? Can I?
I don't know. Ask Google. We talked bad about their.
Okay, Google.
Stadia. Stevia. Say.
Can I share a fun little conversation I had exchanged that happened to me on Twitter today?
Do it.
John Wall, heir to the Wall beard trimming empire, made a tweet. All right, just to make sure I'm caught up for the week, fuck Notch, who created Minecraft, but fuck PewDiePie, because he's PewDiePie, and fuck the cast of Devil May Cry. Who am I missing? That twat nut Adam Leonard replies, @JW Lacey, ?
Wow.
To which John replies, yep, that checks out.
Wow.
Which I replied with the Burning Elmo, because that was the only way to encapsulate my rage and defamation of character, as they destroyed me on Twitter.
This is what
you guys aren't even real brothers because you don't have the same last name. So
maybe they're stepbrothers.
What's the real last name? Is Wall the real last name? Does the family like embarrassed to even accept Adam into the family, so they just gave him this fake last name? They're like, you're not even part of this. Just you're Leonard.
I think he gave it to himself because it's such a dumb last name.
Lionheart.
Real clever.
Like, I really like that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. So I want it to be my last name. He's probably got a back tat. You know what I'm talking about? Like that lower back tat.
Of his last name? Is that what you're...
Yeah.
I would imagine so. He's got enough room back there.
It's probably because he's an artist, quote unquote artist. It's probably in like MS Comic Sans, not Old English, but like MS Comic Sans.
No, I thought he drew it himself. He drew it himself, and then he spent 10 hours looking up tattoo artists to try to find one that was worthy of his art that could possibly transcribe. Look, you're doing it wrong. Let me just do it, and then reaches behind.
Apparently, we've joined the ring between the Mega Dads, if we're in Nintendo, and Nintendo Dads of flaming and shaming each other on our podcast. But here's the good news: we got like 3 more weeks before those guys will even have another podcast episode out. So we got plenty of time before we have to hear them again.
We can talk crap about them all we want,
and then just await the storm. All right, so what you playing?
Yeah.
Mine's short and sweet, guys. The past week, all I've played is Breath of the Wild. Just been continuing my return to Hyrule. I haven't done, I'm just wandering around, getting towers, doing random shrines. I went to the Lost Woods, and that section still runs like poopy. Like it's still, you like get in there. I remember they made some improvements to that. Even Doc, though, as soon as you start walking in there, it's like the game's just like shadows. Can't do it.
There's been a couple of times where I've been turning the camera or something, and it just kind of bogs down, skips, and such.
Can I also say that Korok challenge, where you have to follow that little Korok to the shrine, is the worst ever. I hate that so very much.
Oh, the scaredy cat one?
Yeah, or you have to just follow him, because it takes like 7 minutes to do, and so many times, like, I'd either get too close. Well, actually, what kept happening is he'd get to the last section right before the shrine, and there's a wolf that would either attack him and scare him off, and then he would never come back.
Yeah,
because the wolf's still there, and I'd always give away my position trying to kill the wolf. Or one time, or he just would run off and he'd stand there, and you can't see him in the fog and the foliage. You couldn't find him again. So then he would just see me.
Fog and the foliage sounds like, I don't know. Something.
That's my coffee shop indie rock cover band. literally, I probably had to replay that like 10 times, maybe more, before I finally.
Say, I think I had to do it twice because I remember.
God.
I think I thought I was done or something, and then I
And
came
you
back.
got too close to him. Or...
Yeah, I don't remember,
Well,
but I remember having to
will
go back
say
and do
that
it.
I killed the wolf, and then I got too close to him, so he saw me. And then when I restarted again, the wolf doesn't respawn after you kill him. So then it was just easy, just follow him.
Problem
But
solved.
so annoying. I hate that quest so
Oh, it's
very
a great
much.
game. You
And
can't say anything
here's the
bad
best
about
part. Here's the best part. When I finally did beat it, I was like, yes, I'm gonna record a video clip because I couldn't do that in my initial playthrough because that they hadn't released that functionality on the Switch yet. I'm gonna post a quippy video on Twitter to be all snarky and be like, I hate this quest. And then literally as it was finishing the saving feature, the game crashed. And it made me reboot my Switch
It's
completely.
because it knew it was like you.
So then I had to do the
bad.
quest again. I had to do the
Wow,
quest again.
again.
Yeah.
Did you make the snarky, or were
No.
you just you forgot?
I
'cause
was
you were
like,
just
no, I was just,
I don't
yeah.
want.
I took a screenshot, what I haven't posted yet. And it reminds me, you know what it reminds me of? That horrible stealth mission in America's Army. Do you remember that?
No.
You had those training missions.
Why do you?
And there's
remember
one,
that?
you were like somewhere in Russia and you had to like follow and avoid these guard towers, and they almost always would spot you every time. And it
Were
was
you
so
in?
annoying.
Were you in these? Was it a snow level, and you were kind of in these trenches a little bit?
Yeah, I think
seem
so.
to remember it a little bit, something
Don't
like
get
that.
it confused like with a Call of Duty level, but they're very similar. But yeah, it's just horrible. Sometimes stealth mechanics like that in games is just not fun, and that was one of them. That was just not fun. I hate that little Korok. Hate him.
Sorry.
But
Channing,
yeah,
hate 'em.
I'm still having fun with the game, and I'm at the point now where I've started killing Guardians because I can, and pretty soon I'm going to start farming Lionels for Uber gear
Wow.
because I can.
Because you should.
So yeah, that's where I'm at.
I find it funny that you'll play this open world game that has very little direction to it.
It's the
Yeah.
first one I ever could though. We talked about this when that game first came out.
It is weird, but
Because Zelda.
Yeah,
Because
Zelda.
Nintendo.
Zelda.
I mean, there's
It's
that
fine.
charm and stuff
fine.
that reeling me in, for sure. But
it's okay.
it's fun.
I'm not holding it against you.
I'm surprised though because I never thought I would be able to go back to this game because I thought I did so much, and that's what made me so apprehensive about starting a second playthrough anyway. And I just thought I would never enjoy it, because I've already done all this, and I typically don't replay a lot of games because it's just not fun for me to do it. But for this, I don't know. I think it's because, and I think I've already talked about this, but from initially, the Switch came out early March. My son was born on the 24th of March. I beat that game in the span of 3-4 weeks because I had to. So now it's kind of nice to be able to play it much more leisurely.
You are a man of leisure. We talk about that often. Uh,
I enjoy a great many fine leisurely things.
ooh.
But yeah, that's it. Because my wife and son were gone majority last week, so I had a lot of time to play some games. I did play Smash. I did do that too. But I've been powering through Adventure Time. I hadn't mentioned that in the show. I'm watching Adventure Time. I'm on season 5 now, which is great because guess what? Season 5 has 50 episodes. It was like
Whoa.
2 years long. For whatever reason, it has like 52 episodes.
Wow. So it's about an hour long then in total.
Yeah, right.
See what I did
Interesting though. I don't know how the series ended, and I haven't read anything about how the series ended, so I'm kind of keeping my blinders up on that because I want to try to. My goal is to get through the entire thing. So.
Wow.
Yep. So that's it. That's all from me.
Okay. Well, let me talk about a game I've been playing, courtesy of one Michael McDonald, because he let me build him a computer, and then he said, have this game. And so I took that game, and I played it, and the game is called The Division 2.
Dos.
That's it. That's all I have to say about it. So, The Division 2. I don't have a whole lot of experience with the first Division because...
You guys played it like, what, one time?
One time, yeah. I seek to possibly remedy that, but only to play mainstream stuff, just to get, a little bit of the story or something. It seems interesting. It's a story that's based in reality for the most part, which you don't often see in multiplayer games. Not ones that
that's true.
Not the ones that are kind of trying to be RPGs at the same time. So The Division is a third-person shooting game where you play with other people online, and you go through in the second one, you're in Washington D.C. and a virus has broken out. If I am to understand correctly, a virus has broken out and has caused humanity to sort of crumble, I guess. I don't really know.
Was it the G virus?
No, because there's no zombies. It was the B virus for boring and nobody cares. So, but the important thing is that my impressions from this game are very positive. I've seen a lot of people talking about playing Anthem, and while I'm playing this, I just think to myself, there needs to be more people playing the Division 2, because I have not played Anthem, but from what I understand, it doesn't seem
I know
as
Sean loves Division 2.
Oh, okay, good. I was about to check him off the list, the good list, but he can stay.
Does anybody else in our small community of awesomeness have it on PC?
Division?
Yeah.
No, I didn't even know he had it on PC. I thought he was playing on something else.
Oh no, he's playing on Xbox.
Okay, then
I'm
I'm the only one that I know of.
Besides, that's my question. I wonder how it's going to be for you. Are you gonna have you done any matchmaking? Have you done any
Nope.
Random?
I've been
playing
randos, completely solo. I tried.
Okay.
I did try. So when you're running around the city, you will get calls for help. And I'm not exactly sure what that entails, but I did answer the first one I ever got because I wanted to know what was happening and why I was getting this. And when I answered the call, I was transported to the place I was trying to get to anyways, and I had suspected that would be the case, so that's why I did it. And when I got there, they were at this base. They were at a safe harbor, I suppose, and they were just standing there. And so I waited for 2 minutes and nothing ever happened. So I'm like, yep, I'm never going to do this again, basically.
See, that's the thing. That's why I'm I guess I kind of have blinders up for games of this nature, because years ago, these would be games I would love to play. I'd be all over them. But now I can't. I can't make the time commitment to meet up with other players because I have the worst availability now to play most multiplayer games like that. And I feel like you're missing. For me, I would feel like I'd be missing a key part of the game by not being able to play it way.
Now you're missing all of the part of the game, but
I'm not going to buy it.
I don't know how much you'd be interested in the game anyways. I can't.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that
it's on Nintendo, so I'm not going to like it.
I'm trying to say
so
I can't.
So I'm not going to like it.
No, it's not. I can't think of another game that you've played that this would be similar to. At least not recently. A third-person shooting game that's not action-oriented and maybe a little bit more tactical. Well, it is action, but there's some tactical elements to it. Because it is a Tom Clancy game, so it does play slightly...
I played Advanced Warfighter for 2 seconds.
Exactly.
On the Xbox 360.
It is, well, and that's what I'm saying, is it is based in reality for the most part, so there are realistic weapons.
I played Fortnite.
Oh, God, please stop. You're not doing yourself any favors, although please keep that face going. You look like man devolved. That's what I call that portrait. So can I get to my impressions yet, or?
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I booted up this game and I made a character and I played some of it, and I wasn't expecting a whole lot, but you have this little intro section. The gunplay and the controls. I am playing with the controller because it's a third-person shooter, so I figure why not. And
is it hurting my jaw? Can I stop doing it now?
Yeah, but only if you go.
Okay.
Like that. Hear those cracks? 9 years later, you'll be paying for that. So I am playing with the controller, but you know what though? The controls feel good. I think I would prefer to play it with a controller, at least non-competitively. So I think I'm at about level 5 right now, and I've done some missions. I've been through one part of the world, which the whole city is kind of split up into different sections just to make it easier to know, one, what level you're supposed to be when you go to these places, and two, it kind of sections off the stuff that you need to do there. So there's control points, there's public executions that you can stop. There are these they're called hyenas, this group. They're basically terrorists, homegrown terrorists, and they are taking over the city through means of terrorizing it. They will take loudspeaker systems and hijack them and play their own propaganda, that type of thing. And so then you have the good guys who are also trying to make outposts and just stay alive, families and people who guard them and that type of thing. So you're just trying to help expand the good guys so that the threat of these hyena people are kind of pushed back.
Hyena.
Yes. So
Okay.
what I found the most interesting is that when you're going through this city, it feels very alive. And what I mean by that is, so you have these public executions, but you'll also find groups of these hyenas patrolling around, or they'll be doing these speaker takeover things, or they'll be guarding something. And it just happens randomly, or at least it seems random, that you'll just be walking to your next objective and they'll be patrolling. And it actually looks like they're patrolling. They're not just standing there. They're doing things. You'll also run into friendly people. If you start getting control points, it seems to add more activity on this part of the map. So you'll see groups of good guys patrolling, but they'll also go to places to gather supplies like water. And it will tell you that when you look at them, it'll say gathering supplies, water, or gathering food, or defending an area, whatever it may be. So the world actually feels quite alive. Also, there's wildlife that you encounter every once in a while. They're not hostile, but it
Are
just
they
helps to sell the
Are
idea.
they diseased?
No,
Or
no,
okay.
no, just regular. They don't attack you
Okay.
or anything. I've only found deer and dogs, so I wish it was beer and hot dogs. But anyways,
Beer and pogs.
yeah, sure, that too. So I've done a few missions. They're all right. They're set up in. I saved some people from the hyena place. I saved this woman's daughter or whatever. They're all basically go into this building, shoot all the people, and do the objective. But I don't know. The gameplay loop is pretty good, and of course you get gear and loot and stuff, and the guns are based on real guns and everything. So, but everything just feels so good that it's I don't know. It just works, even though it's not a fantasy world or anything. There's a lot of systems at play that just make everything feel good to play.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not in a power armor and acting like you're Iron Man or anything, but I don't know. It still feels good, and it looks good. It runs good. One of my first experiences that I remember is just traveling to the next waypoint as soon as the tutorial mission kind of ended, and it was storming in the city, and all the, I'm playing in 5.1 surround sound and everything, so the storm is all around you. The fog is kind of creeping in, and you can barely see in front of you. So this whole time I'm feeling really worried that I'm just going to run into groups of enemies, because I knew it was possible. So there's that tension there that you're going to just happen upon some enemies and have to fight for your life. And I have died a few times because it is a shooting game, so it's very unapologetic. If you run in and try to get yourself killed, you'll find that is very easy to do. I've only played solo so far, but I don't really see a reason not to, honestly.
Right.
I feel
it sounds like you're having a really good time with it.
it feels like a single player Tom Clancy game, honestly. More so than Destiny, which has more cutscenes and stuff in it, but people talk about, well, you're going to need to group up for these raids or whatever, and I'm just like, well, then I guess I might as well not bother, huh? Because I know I'm not going to be able to. So I'm really having a good time with it. I'm at level 5. I don't know what the cap is, but I'm going to keep playing and see kind of where it goes. But yeah, it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it so far. And from what I've read, people who've gotten to the end game say that it's actually opens up even more options once you get to the end game. So it doesn't just stop and like there's nothing to do all of a sudden. So I'll see how the multiplayer goes, because there's also PvP.
There's PvP, yeah.
And that type of thing. Because
The
there's
Dark Zone.
Yep. And one other thing.
I know my games.
You do. The Division.
What is this, Nathan talking about Apex?
Yes, it is.
Love you, Nathan.
Less whiskey, though. in the first division, it just did okay, and I think part of that was because the enemies are bullet sponges. You just shoot at them and shoot at them and shoot at them, and then finally they go down. Here, not so much. It actually feels like a good balance between the two. So they don't go down in one headshot, but if you can get 2 or 3 headshots, depending on what weapon you're using, it makes it worth it, and they do go down. So they don't feel quite as bullet spongy as they did in the first one. So the other game I want to talk about just real quickly is I got Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe from the library, and I wanted to surprise my son with it because he's been loving Mario Odyssey. So I was curious to see how well he would do because it's 2D platforming, which you would think is easier, but the challenge is actually more difficult, and that's especially true when you're playing Odyssey on the easy assist mode, and they don't really have that here. So if you fall in a pit, you still die. It doesn't just place you back where you were. You have lives. He has trouble. He doesn't understand that you can't just keep running right the whole time.
Yeah, you got to jump over pits.
You got to jump
and
avoid enemies and all types of stuff. So it didn't really work out. And so I'm going to let him play it by himself for a little bit and see if he kind of works out what to avoid. Because that's pretty much what happened with the Odyssey. Is it took a while, but eventually he started to understand what he could and couldn't do.
Yeah.
And so cooperatively speaking, it's very frustrating. It's a very frustrating experience to have him keep running and leave you behind or get himself killed constantly. The challenge is much higher here. And which makes me feel positively about it as a game that I just play by myself.
Right, yeah.
Much more so than like Yoshi's Woolly World or Yoshi's Cardboard Cutouts.
Yeah,
or whatever
I didn't think
called.
about like trying to get this from the library, so I should maybe look into that myself too.
I will tell you, I was number 50 in the queue, so it took a
Wow.
while. It took
I'm sure there's
weeks
quite a
or so.
wait list.
Yeah, so hopefully it thins out eventually. But yeah, we're having a good old time with it. It's just didn't quite go the way I planned, but he had fun with it. It's much more dynamic looking than Mario is to a certain degree because there's a lot more happening on the screen. And plus he's used to that from Odyssey and the 2D sections there anyway. But he wasn't good on those sections either, so I guess I'm not really that surprised that he was struggling with this. But I also wanted to try it out for myself to see how it was. So I'll probably play a little bit more, like I said, single player and see what I think.
Yeah, they need to have you need to experience because you played a little bit, but I don't know if it'll ever get ported. And I don't know if people want to buy another Mario port. But if we ever got to play Super Mario 3D World on Switch, that'd be perfect. Because that if you fall in the pit, then you go in the little bubble and you float around.
See, and that's the one I thought this game was. That's the 3D one, right? Where you're you can turn into cats and stuff.
Yeah. That's the one. You get turn into cats, and you can turn into.
We played that for.
Yeah, you and I played it for. Yep.
Okay. And now I have something completely different to talk about, and that's a comic. We haven't talked about comics in a while.
Now here's a comic in forever.
Now here's the funny thing. I didn't realize this. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the DC world, as I am, I have rarely ever read a DC comic in my life. They fairly recently rebooted the entire series, like all of the series that they have.
Oh yeah,
and they called it the New 52. Yep.
Yeah.
And I didn't read any of the stuff coming up to that. I don't know if there was an event like Marvel did with Battle Worlds or whatever. But I knew that it rebooted. So anybody who wanted to jump in on Superman or whatever, you could and feel like you didn't miss out on 50 years of backstory or whatever. Now, I am familiar with this character only because I had read Sweet Tooth, which is the author of Animal Man. And that's what I'm reading is Animal Man. So Animal Man. I didn't know what to expect. But my God, I was taken aback by the first volume. I read the first volume, and I'm in the middle of the second. And this comic is very adult and very gross. I don't know what I assumed, but I didn't. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be Superman levels of good and evil and everything. But I thought maybe the Flash or Green Arrow or something like that. But no, this is almost horrific. Honestly, it's not
Really?
I mean, a dude gets eaten. So here's the thing: is I kind of know sort of what's happening. I don't know Animal Man, but there are three things. There's this thing called the red. There's this thing called the green, and then there's this thing called the rot. The rot is bad. The green is
Kind of interesting how there's two colors and then a condition.
Well, I'll tell you. The green represents the web of life between plant life. The red represents the web of life between animals and humanity. And Animal Man is sort of the one person who was chosen to represent the red. And the person who was chosen to represent the green then is Swamp Thing, which I found, I was like, what? Swamp Thing? That's awesome. The rot is everything that those two things are not. It is
Randall
death.
Flagg.
Yeah, it is death, decay, all bad things. Now these three beings used to be part of the red, but they've splintered off, and now they've become corrupt, and they look almost. They're like masses of flesh that are somewhat vaguely. They look like something from Dead Space almost.
Oh.
Yes. And so they have just viscera on them, random eyeballs and stuff. They'll take the forms of humans, but then their faces will blow out and their eyeballs will like bulge. It's very gross, but very, I don't know. It's gross, but you kind of can't look away. It's very,
You sick fuck.
I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it is gross. It is weird. It is odd, but it's compelling. It's very interesting. It's nothing that I would have expected from a DC comic. I don't know why, but it is pretty R-rated. So, nothing that made me feel uncomfortable. It's just like, whoa, this is really more adult. I mean, it explains why it was in the adult section, but I was kind of like, come on, a superhero in the adult section of, now when I say adult, I mean the adult comic books, as in not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm not talking hentai and everything. So yeah, this kind of blew me away. I was not expecting it, and it's written well. It's just good. So I'm going to continue reading it is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So just picked it up on a whim because of a name drop and was
Look at you.
pleasantly surprised. Yeah.
Getting off on the sick shit.
Yeah. Well, it only happened because I've been reading through the Dark Tower, what they have of the comic series of that, but I thought all of it came in at once, and it turned out only one of the books came in. So I was like, well, now what am I going to read? Because I only have this one, and that's clearly not enough. I try to maximize my library visits. So I looked over, and I was like, okay, well, let's just pick out some random stuff.
That's nice that you're able to find something randomly, because usually when I go there without like a hold or specifically looking for something, I just kind of meander and I never find anything good.
Well, it wasn't that random because I had seen it before, and I was just constantly thinking, well, I don't want to just pick up the wrong thing. But then I looked at it this time and saw that it tells you what the volumes are, because sometimes they don't. I will say
there's always these one-off graphic novels that I always like kind of look.
Yeah, I'll look for those too.
Like there's one called Ruins. I've seen that like on like every KDL I've been to, which is it's supposed to be pretty good. Winner of the 2016 Eisner Award for Best Graphic Album, selected as an LA Top 10 graphic novel. So I don't know. Samantha and George are a couple heading towards a sabbatical year in the quaint Mexican town of Oaxaca. I don't know how Oaxaca, Zaxaco, or I don't know how you would pronounce that.
I don't know either.
I'm a stupid American, so yeah, there you go.
It's like that. It's like the Mexican Thunderbird or whatever, Coaxacoatl. I don't know how to say it, but it was
Tenochtitlan.
Yes, exactly. I think it was in Final Fantasy VIII as a summon. I don't remember, but yeah, those you get some Q's and X's in there, and I'm sorry, I can't help you. But yeah, Animal Man, New 52. Get it at your local library. Ask your parents first, because there's gore and things in it of a naughty nature. And that's what
I haven't
have
read
been
DC.
playing. I've never
I
read a
haven't read-
DC comic.
I haven't read DC, and
Well, no, that's a lie.
I read some Batman stuff.
I
throughout time,
read
but-
like the Frank Miller Batman stuff and that type of thing.
Since we're still on gaming talk, apparently Konami has announced a 50th anniversary collection
Oh, fuck Konami.
coming on PS4, Xbox One, Steam, and Switch. 3 separate collections. The Arcade Classics, which gives you it's $20. It gives you Haunted Castle, Typhoon, Nemesis, Vulcan Venture, Life Force, Thundercross, Scramble, and Twinbee. Nothing I've ever heard of or ever want to play.
I think Life Force is a shoot 'em up. Pretty sure. That's the only one.
I'm sure most of them are. And then you get a Contra. Oh god, I gotta put in my birth date just to
this could have just been around the web, really.
Well, okay, we're going around the web right now.
We're
This
in
is
it.
part of
We're in it. We're doing it
We're in it.
live.
Castlevania gives you Castlevania 3, Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge, which was on the Game Boy.
So it must
Super
be
Castlevania 4, and then 4 other games that haven't been announced yet. Digital. These are all digital only, looks like. And then I love it, dude. That's a great answer.
Metal Gear Solid Survive. Such a good game.
And then there's a Contra collection, and I just scrolling through when it was posted. Dev made the post that he's like, "Oh, I want to get Contra." I'm like, "Do you really want Contra that bad?" Because I go back to Contra. I love Contra, but I don't ever want to go back to Contra.
That seems to be the feeling for most of these older games where you're like, "Oh yeah, I'd like to play that," and then you go to play it and you play it for about 5 seconds.
I'll play the original Contra, because that has the most nostalgia for me. But any other Contra,
music's badass.
No. They're just too hard.
I think we learned our lesson when we tried to play Alien War 3 or what Contra 3 Alien Wars.
Hey, that's in this. Super Contra, Super C, Contra 3, the Alien Wars, and Contra, the 4 that have been announced. But I just don't think those.
Konami doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Good lord.
I want to play, for whatever reason, I'm going to play Star Tropics though at some point on the Switch Online. I don't know why. But here's the thing: unless you cheat, there's no way you cannot beat that game. If you've never played that game before, you will not beat that game on the Switch version.
Yeah, because of the thing that I had asked somebody about this in the Discord. You're talking about the letter?
Yeah, you don't have the letter.
Yeah, so they gave a physical letter that you had with the packaging, and you would reference it and put it in water, I think it was.
Yeah, you had to get it, and it had like invisible ink that would show up and give you a message. Now, it's been rumored that was like an early form of like DRM. It's like a way to prevent piracy or to prevent people from renting the game because they wouldn't be able to finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have some other stories around the web. This first one I want to bring up. My wife actually read this headline to me. We were out taking a walk. My wife. Taking a walk with the kid and doggo. This is from the New York Post. A woman is suing Aldi over exploding turkey burger.
What?
Aldi customers suing the grocery store after suffering burns and permanent scarring from a turkey burger after it exploded.
Jesus, how? Don't heat it up that hot. Were you gonna eat this scalding, lava-filled turkey burger? The hell's wrong with you?
Purchased the frozen Kirkwood turkey burger from a Pittsburgh area branch of the grocery store. When she went to cook the frozen patties, according to the lawsuit, she claimed she followed the fry packaging instructions. She preheated the skillet on medium heat, cooked the frozen burgers in a small amount of vegetable oil for 7 to 9 minutes per side. However, that when she placed the burger on the heated oil, it exploded while cooking, causing burns and permanent scarring to both of her hands and forearms. She's reportedly seeking more than $35,000 in damages from the August 2018 incident. Aldi did not immediately respond to Fox News' request for comment. You would have to think that they'll probably just settle out of court and she'll get some money and go along her way.
I'm confused about what happened here. So she put in a frozen patty in some oil and the oil exploded?
No, the patty itself exploded.
Oh, while cooking and caused burns.
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
I don't know. And there's no way to prove how much oil she used, because obviously oil and water don't play nice together.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Especially hot oil. So I'm sure that's what caused this reaction. So either the patties were too frozen, and they had a lot of ice on them, or there was too much oil used. There's something, but how do you prove that? You can't. So this is what's going to happen. Aldi's just going to have to settle. So I doubt it's going to get thrown out. They'll probably just have to settle out of court.
I mean, it is unfortunate. I don't think she did anything wrong here. It's just crazy.
It's like Kramer in the hot coffee.
You always have a Seinfeld episode to fall back on when something happens, and I love it. I love that about you.
Hey,
Shit,
here's the feeling good. Here's the feeling good all the time.
This is exactly like when those phones were exploding from Samsung.
Oh my gosh.
Now we can't eat our turkey burgers without worrying we're going to die. What the hell?
And I have one other headline this week coming from the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Bunk, Dan Anthony himself, who writes, Fluxtaposed, hi. If you had to eat at the same restaurant 6 nights a week, which place would this be? And can you bring home a biscuit wrapped in a napkin for me? Thank you. And he quoted a tweet from Jonathan Martin, JMart NYT, Wichita couple dines at Texas Roadhouse 6 nights a week from the Wichita Eagle. It's got a link here, Kansas.com. Couple is eating at the same Wichita restaurant 6 nights a week for 15 years.
That's the type of person who puts ketchup on their steak. You know that person does.
That's right. There's a sweet autoplay video, because what website's complete without autoplay video? And I'll paraphrase, Ron Watson's a creature, almost like Ron Swanson, is a creature of habit, he admits. He also is someone who doesn't want to cook and doesn't want his wife of 20 years, Diana, to have to cook after a long day either. So nearly every day for the past 15 years, they've slid into table 412 at the Westside Texas Roadhouse for their only meal of the day. So they only eat one meal? And they eat at Texas Roadhouse?
What?
So what do they do on the 7th day?
You order the extra everything and take it home with you.
They eat junk. I hate to say this, but he looks like the type of guy that might eat at a Texas Roadhouse.
He looks like a trucker.
He does look like a trucker. He's a Vietnam veteran, so thank you for your service, sir, but you do look like a trucker.
And we will hold that against you, clearly.
They've been doing this since 2004. The only day of the week they don't go to Texas Roadhouse on Saturdays, and that's only because Diana, the former owner of the now closed A Legacy Antique Mall, works late on Saturdays at Architectural Salvage, and it's too crowded in the restaurant when she gets off. I'm
sorry, but I thought you were going to say on Sundays because that's the Lord's Day. So
that was initially my first guess, because I'm
she orders the roadkill.
On Saturdays, they go to Hog Wild on West Street to get some food and to go watch Black Sheep Squadron while they eat.
Every time they...
I don't know what Black Sheep Squadron, but I feel like Chuck Norris could be in it.
It does sound... I mean, every night, apparently.
Hey, Diana knows all the servers, and all the servers know that she wants a tall 502 Amber Ale, and Ron wants a water with lemon.
Well, she's drinking him under the table, clearly.
I mean, they must have got some good money to eat it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Every day.
Although I guess if they don't have to buy groceries, it just kind of evens out. When they go to Hog Wild, that guy can't stop telling them, normally we eat over at the Texas Roadhouse over on blah, blah Street. And everyone's like, we know, Ron. Gosh.
I love this.
Because I won't let my wife cook.
At Christmas, the Watsons noticed for promotion being offered that would afford anyone who bought a $200 gift card a free appetizer serving a shrimp on every visit for a year. They bought that gift card, and now their meals start with an order of 5 shrimp on a skewer, which Ron always cuts into 10 equal pieces to share with his wife. Ron has done the math. We're going to eat 1,560 shrimp this year.
For free. Well, $200.
He figures they spend $22 a day at the restaurant, and because it's the only meal they eat each day, it all evens out, he decides.
I've decided that.
How do you only eat one meal a day? That's terribly unhealthy. I don't get it.
How do you only eat one meal a day and still carry the girth of this man? I mean, he's not... He's overweight. If we're not going by the standards of America,
your body's going into starvation mode more than likely, because you're only eating once a day, so you're just holding on to everything that you give it.
Give me your toughest steak. I have to digest this for the next 12 hours.
Ugh.
Good Lord. Okay, well, we got to answer the question. Were you eating 6 nights a week?
No, I don't. I don't do it.
You wouldn't? You would just starve and die?
No, I can't eat out that many times. I'd rather... No,
it's a hypothetical question.
No, not doing it.
Wow, Dan. He doesn't like fun.
I'm about bettering this temple, okay?
You'd probably pick, like, Famous Dave's. That's why you won't say it.
I've made it Famous Dave's once in my life.
Yeah,
KFC. Give me a bucket chicken. I need
I'm
a
gonna
$5
eat
fill. I want a $5 fill up.
Fill up. Sounds like something you'd put in your car. Give me just $5. I don't get paid until Friday. Gosh, I don't know. 6 nights a week? I'd have to pick somewhere that offered a little bit of everything. You know the place. Like an Applebee's. Even though the food's not good, you don't want a burger every night. You say you want a burger every night, but you don't really. Sometimes you want to get a little pasta. A little tour of Italy.
Oh, God. Can't do that, too. Once I looked how many the caloric intake in that thing.
Hey, you go out to a restaurant, you're eating at least 1,000 calories. Probably more. So everyone just think about that the next time somebody invites you to go out to eat. It's not time to have fun. It's not time to relax. It's time to think about how many calories you're ingesting and how that's probably going to set you back for the week. Okay?
Okay.
So
Are we done?
I mean, I guess.
Are we done? I guess.
I said Applebee's, so I'm going to go eat pizza rolls. I haven't said that in a while.
All right, that is going to do it for this week's episode of Fluxtaposed. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Share it with a friend. We'd appreciate it. I know I would.
No one's sharing this.
No one's sharing.
Sharon!
So, as always, we want to say thank you to everyone, but a special thanks to our patrons, especially our Arbiters of Awesomeness, Josh Brown, Kevin Dawson, Kyle Heyman, Tyler Rowland, Tom Surreal, Donnie Reese, Matt Knight, and our Executors of Excellence, Jasper Boney, Dan Anthony, Edwin Callow, Serenade, Devin Tyers. I say it so fast. If you want to join the Flux Legion on Patreon, please check out patreon.com/Fluxtaposed. That is going to do it. Thank you, everybody. We love you. Good night. Sleep tight.
Don't let.
Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were like,
No,
he was holding
I was
up his
gonna-
finger like.
I was going to say some stupid gaming quote, and I just never came to me. So
I wasn't going to say anything clever. So
the girls never came.
I haven't said anything clever since the show started.
True. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for playing along. See ya.